Chapter 2. The Body Codes of Light. An Introduction to a Game. Returning to work felt like starting a new chapter in Ingrid's life. Being disappointed for not seeing any mysterious text before switching on her computer this morning made her angry with herself.
Ingrid, I need the original aerial view photo. You have it stored on your external hard drive.
Piet the wit whined.
Why?
She peered into the floor manager's shifty eyes. Ingrid's burning gaze poured into his soul like boiling tar. Piet's mouth frothed with fury. His pestering about the drawings for the French complex started to annoy her. Ingrid could be very aloof.
Never mind why. Have you got it?
No, not here in my office. Why the sudden interest?
Gosh, he was getting under her skin.
I have my reasons. What did you do with your external hard drive?
Good grief, don't be so secretive. Remember you gave me the one I'm working on 2 weeks ago?
Her tone flew at him.
Bitch, you know very well what I mean.
Her sudden telepathic sensitivity startled her.
So, what did you do with the original aerial photo?
He snapped in reply.
Look for it yourself. Piet, stop bothering me.
His eyes were hot and bright and moisture was across his upper lip.
Phone head office and ask for the original photo. I'm sure they saved it in cloud storage.
Her coolness disguised her rage.
One day you'll be sorry for how you talked to me.
He yelled back and stormed out of her office. Ingrid's blood was still boiling with anger after Piet's outburst when her phone rang. What was he insinuating? She answered in a professional but slightly abrupt manner.
Still at the job, are you? I'm impressed. I promised to phone you back with the information on the buttercup flower. Are you always that quick and efficient?
Mr. Harden's masterful tone acted as a catalyst. Good grief, she'd forgotten to call back and tell him it had been sorted with the client. She should have apologized but felt flustered by his undertone.
Yes, I think so. Aren't you?
She replied instead. It was out before she realized it. What had made her say that? She was usually not so abrupt. After a short silence, she apologized for her rudeness, explaining that someone else had influenced her reaction. Somewhat annoyed at herself for being so irritable, she could almost feel his thoughts as if he were probing into her mind.
It must be.
That's impossible. Was he questioning himself? Surely that must have been her mind talking to itself. She didn't know this Mr. Hardens. Could he be the same man that had spoken on the radio the day before?
You have a lively mind, Ingrid. By the way, I'm glad you weren't reacting to me. I will speak to you again.
He laughed as if he knew, something she did not before he hung up. What did he mean by a lively mind? Oh well, at least he was not offended by her manner. He seemed to have a rather challenging personality who might not take no for an answer. She speculated about his appearance. A powerful voice didn't always match the physical form. After work, as she passed a new shop on the way to the Panneloek, a new big sign in the bookshop window read, "Decoding Workshops. Starting soon." Connie, the salesgirl, waved for her to come inside. Ingrid hoped that Connie's mother would be there.
I think your name is Ingrid, isn't it?
She said, biting her lower lip.
Yes. How did you know?
My mother asked me to give you this.
The teenager handed her a blue envelope, making her shaky. She had never given Connie her name. Other customers were waiting for her, so she left. The Panneloek coffee shop was across the street. She spotted Liesbeth through the window, waiting for her at a corner table. As she was about to greet her friend, her mouth gaped in absolute astonishment at Liesbeth's appearance. She looked at least 10 years younger than she had 4 months earlier.
What has happened to you? What artifacts did you find on that dig that you joined? A rejuvenating tonic?
Her voice leapt in amazement as she hugged her. She thought Liesbeth's appearance might be due to a new, powerful, non-surgical, anti-aging treatment to counteract the decline in enzyme activity. Her sister Quincy's health shop was promoting it. Liesbeth was 5 years younger, around 40, but now looked in her early 30s. She was tall, with a delicately sculpted nose, bright dark brown eyes, and satiny sun-tanned skin, surrounded by playful, shiny dark ringlets that gave her an almost aristocratic Egyptian look. Her smile expressed warmth that was difficult to describe, without concern and vanity. She was the most compassionate woman Ingrid had ever known.
Hi, Richard will join us, and I've ordered 2 cappuccinos.
Who's Richard? A new boyfriend?
She admired Liesbeth's stunning, glowing expression, as if something had happened, but what was it?
Ingrid, I've heard all about you.
A man in his late 30s, quite attractive in an intellectual way, remarked while serving them 2 steaming coffees, his lively eyes conveying an alert mind. A rubber band casually held back his longish, wavy, dark brown hair. His thoughtful dark brown eyes turned into a smile of amused friendliness and pleasure, which aroused feelings of warmth and something more.
Well, you have me at a disadvantage, for I know nothing about you.
Ingrid liked him on the spot. He was pretty charismatic, but far too young for her.
Ingrid, as you know, I joined a group of archaeologists in Egypt. They were investigating some very new secret sites at Luxor. It was my job to write a report on their findings for the sponsors of this dig. Richard was with this group of archaeologists.
Richard explained how he took over the expedition from his late brother, who had been the organizer. He knew about all the preparations his brother had processed 2 years in advance, mainly handling the authorities, meaning the red tape.
Richard is a part-time lecturer at the University of Utrecht.
Liesbeth voiced proudly.
Oh, what subjects do you lecture in?
He looked very young to be a lecturer.
Egyptian mythology, mainly on the translations of their hieroglyphic scripts. And lately I'm looking into another symbolic language used long ago.
The coffee shop became busy, so Richard excused himself, saying he would join them later.
Wow, what an interesting guy. I love his hairstyle, both creative and sophisticated all in one.
The Panneloek was a famous coffee and snack bar. It advertised Gelderland's many holiday attractions on its walls. Customers could write their remarks on a sizable electronic keypad at the entrance. Richard is managing this coffee shop for the owner.
Liesbeth continued. Ingrid raised her eyebrows speculatively, but Liesbeth ignored her glance.
His aunt, who is visiting her children in South Africa, owns the coffee shop, and he needed the money. The passing of his brother Theo has been a financial as well as an emotional ordeal. You're wondering if he is my boyfriend, but he is not, so stop scheming. I can read your mind. He's just an excellent friend.
Liesbeth pushed her playfully.
Really?
Liesbeth's pamphlet about the decoding workshops on the phone looked intriguing. It covered many creative class exercises in which one would make one's own deck of cards. The decoding of our genetic blueprint seemed translatable because of the 22 spacings occupied by the human holographic aura. Her heart was beating from astonishment. Had this power not mentioned something about it? As she was reading, the coffee shop noises started to fade away. Making your own 22 individual cards promises to be a creative adventure. It mentioned that by creating these cards, hidden potentials would be revealed, even the memories of the possibility of reaching full consciousness. Ingrid recalled Connie telling her about this genetic decoding related to sound.
Are you both interested? I know about Annelies through Theo, my deceased brother.
Richard queried when he brought them their favorite snack, 2 extra-large vegetarian spring rolls known as lumpias. Ingrid jerked when she heard the name Annelies. Richard shared what he knew about the decoding workshops between helping customers. Ingrid had difficulty keeping her inner turmoil from getting the better of her. She was so unprepared for all this synchronicity.
Richard's deceased brother had known Annelies when she assembled the material for the workshops in the card game with the help of a guide.
Liesbeth added, peering at her frowning.
Really?
Ingrid's voice leapt in astonishment, thinking of Poa and knowing her friend was probing her mind.
Yes, that's how I reacted at first, doubtful.
Richard leaned over to clear the table.
Annelies is looking for participants willing to write a journal.
He added.
What for? Why?
Richard shrugged his shoulders.
I guess it is writing a journal about our awakening while creating our cards. My brother often mentioned Annelies. That is why I'm curious. And I immediately thought of Liesbeth, who told me that you might be as well.
They both waited for her response.
I'm very keen to find out more about it.
Ingrid swallowed her genuine bewilderment while her palms started to sweat, thinking about the envelope Connie had given her.
Good. I'll phone her now.
Richard worked hard. The coffee shop was noisy because all 8 tables were occupied. He looked like an attractive man, younger than her friend. But why had Liesbeth denied the boyfriend part? Richard returned to their table to tell them Annelies had been waiting for his call.
She's looking forward to meeting us and asked if one of us is called Ingrid.
Really?
Liesbeth arched her eyebrows. She ignored her friend's nudge to speak up. She couldn't share her encounter yet because she wasn't ready to disclose the bizarre computer incident with Poa. Even the excerpt she had mysteriously received held her back. Richard was unknown, and she was still somewhat wary about explaining something so airy-fairy to a stranger. Liesbeth was a friend, but lately she felt she had to be cautious. Too many unexplained phenomena were happening. All 3 would join the introductory class the following evening. They arranged to meet the next day again at the Panneloek after work. They would drive together to Annelies's home on the Veluwe, where she gave the workshops. Ingrid was about to open her umbrella as she stepped out of the coffee shop into the rain when a tall, well-built man bumped into her.
Uh-huh. We are in a hurry.
His voice triggered an immediate sensation. For a moment their eyes connected, and for a split second the depth of his glance overwhelmed her like a tidal wave. The rain was pelting down when she arrived at her driveway. She felt shaky after that confrontation. His penetrating gaze had made her heart jump. Mew, Fluffball, where have you been? I have missed my supper. After preparing cat food, she checked for telephone messages. One was from Debbie, her younger daughter, to say she would be coming home for the weekend. Ingrid still missed her 3 children. She hoped by now to have heard something from the twins, Jeroen or Saskia. Her 26-year-old twins were very independent. Jeroen worked for the family steel construction firm when her late husband had been ill. After Jan died, Jeroen returned to complete his studies in Eindhoven. He then impulsively took his last semester off and went backpacking to find himself, as he called it. Ingrid realized that Jeroen had taken the role of the man in the house very seriously when he knew his father was very ill. She wondered if he would have chosen to follow in the family business. Jan's dad, Dennis Berenzi, who still ran his steel company, had been happy about Jeroen's decision to finish his studies. The music from her audio system brought her back to the present while revitalizing her energy field. What a shower or bath did for her physical body, music did for her whole being. Ingrid was relieved that it had stopped raining. She opened the sliding door leading onto the veranda. Everything smelled fresh and ready for summer to arrive. Her thoughts went back to what the girl had said in the shop. She settled down with a glass of wine on her outside table, and Fluffball on her lap, and opened the blue envelope from Connie. She held her breath in great anticipation. Excerpt 2. Program Planet Earth, the dimensions and their densities. She was spellbound. Excerpt 2 was also hyperlinked, but it was definitely for her. The 5-card game levels, including descriptions of the body codes of light, made her wonder. Was it something to do with her DNA codes? If she wrote a journal about her desire to become aware of her spiritual reality, thinking of the diary beside her bed, how could she know the absolute truth? This decoding card game was connected to the shop. Was everything already planned without her knowing about it? Oh, she needed to talk to someone about all this. Why her of all people? Now she wished she had confided in Liesbeth about power. Her fear of making a fool of herself had stopped her from sharing. Throughout her marriage she had tried that. The fear of being ridiculed remained genuine for her. She'd been on her own for over 2 years since John had died, and it still felt lonely at times. She would turn 45 this year, but dating did not interest her. Most of the interesting men were married anyway. Ingrid had learned a lot about herself during their 24-year marriage. Some friends had described their relationship as stormy. At least she'd become emotionally and mentally independent. When John passed over, it felt as if she had lost a soulmate who had been her best teacher, her best friend, and, just before he got ill, her best lover. Those memories had blocked her from a new relationship. She liked being on her own. She did not anticipate meeting anyone when she joined Liesbeth at functions. Nobody stimulated her, and she hated idle chit-chat. She had met Liesbeth at a party that her sister Quincy had persuaded her to attend just after Jan had died. It was the first outside activity she had participated in, and she had fun after all. Liesbeth had approached them both because she needed to write about the health shop for a magazine. They clicked immediately. Liesbeth owned her own house on the outskirts of Apeldoorn. When Ingrid told her of the job offer, her friend encouraged her. Together they looked for a place for her to live. Meeting up with her again, Ingrid could still not get over the noticeable change in her. Not only did she look younger, but it was also something else she could not name. It was a change that took away the look of any age. When the phone rang in the hallway, she knew it was Debbie, her youngest.
Mum, my train arrives at 11:15 on Friday evening. I want to come directly after my late shift rather than Saturday morning. Will that be all right?
Great, I'll be at the station, Ingrid bubbled. Her youngest Debbie was a fully qualified nurse at the academic hospital in Utrecht. It felt like life was taking a turn, so she decided to pamper herself with a detoxifying treatment. After she had arranged everything around her bathtub, she settled languorously into the warm soapy bubble bath, allowing all the tensions of the day to ease out. Her feet just reached the top while her head rested on a towel. Her shortish, curly, blonde, auburn hair fell playfully about her oval face, creating an effect of agelessness. Her well-shaped, firm body had not lost its youthfulness, even after giving birth to 3 children. She revelled in having this time to herself, and contemplated what Piet had written. She pondered the 5 levels of the decoding game, starting with the first. Piet said that the decoding would awaken her to her soul's full potential. Or was it her oversoul? Not that she knew or understood what was meant by an oversoul. She could look it up online. And what about the riddle of the prophet's game? Oh, how weird. Was it all for real? Back at the office.
Hello? Ingrid, what time is it?
Carla called out as they arrived at the parking area near the office, their cars pulling in simultaneously. The dull, overcast sky held the promise of rain again.
It's 08:15, 5 minutes to browse in that new shop.
Carla had to buy a present for her sister's birthday. Ingrid spotted Marijke sitting inside on her haunches, in the corner, engrossed in a book. They were both very aware of Marijke's silent despair. Carla inquired what she was reading while Ingrid approached a very artistic-looking woman with long blonde hair at the counter. When her blue eyes met hers, Ingrid recognized that she was a friend of Tineke, the lady who gave mind-drawing workshops. She recalled meeting her at Tineke's language of light doodling classes a year ago. This creative workshop revealed a lot about herself.
You are Yolanda, aren't you?
Ingrid, I'm so glad to meet you. Did Connie give the envelope yesterday?
Yes, she did, but I was surprised it was for me.
Mother and daughter looked alike. Yolanda was about to explain when Carla and Marieke reminded her of the time. Yolanda said that she would see her at Annelies' place that evening. Ingrid's office phone blared out its caller tune. The air was charged with tension because the holiday bookings had started. Before she could say anything, a familiar man's voice queried,
Ingrid, we spoke about buttercups the other day.
She tried to imagine what he would look like. His voice reminded her of the man she bumped into at the Panneloek.
Ingrid, can you arrange a meeting with your director, Mr. Brinks, in Amsterdam? This company I took over last week seems to do much business with your firm.
He sounded as if he expected an immediate answer. She looked up the list of subcontractors on her computer. Ingrid saw that the Tree Fern Landscaping division did most of the maintenance. She was thinking of the new complex in France.
Yes, that's correct. Most of the landscaping and maintenance of our complexes are handled by your firm. No meeting is scheduled for the subcontractors for the new site. Can I come back to you on this matter?
She asked while she felt her heart beating.
I'll wait for your call.
She noticed a chuckle in Mr. Harden's voice. Again he reminded her of something. It was as if, no, that wasn't possible. She had better snap out of her sudden fantasy world. She was getting annoyed with herself. What was going on with her? After work, she met Liesbeth for dinner at the Panneloek near the bookshop. The three of them would drive to Annelies' house. Connie had offered to run the coffee shop so Richard could join them. She never told him about power. Instead, she pondered over Mr. Harden's. Annelies lived in a very affluent part of the outskirts of Apeldoorn, surrounded by needle and birch trees. They scrambled out of the car, running through the heavy rain to the front door. Others were arriving as well. A tall, dark-haired, striking woman in her late 50s, very flamboyantly dressed, greeted them with a big smile, her eyes sparkling.
Welcome, I'm Annelies.
She emanated an impressive aura. Long black hair with some grey-white streaks was pulled up, while playful ringlets bounced on her oval face, like Liesbeth's, except for the big earrings, which gave her a gypsy look.
Come in this way,
she indicated in her musical voice. Her energy reflected her strength. She appeared to her to be a woman who had seen it all. They hung their raincoats up before entering her classroom. On the door was written, Introductory Class. Our body codes of light. Very unusual symbols and colourful kaleidoscopic wall decorations adorned the walls. All 8 of them introduced themselves. Each of them had to describe, in their own words, how the words and the body codes of light triggered them. Hearing some of the comments broke the ice. The term parallel realities was mentioned, referring to the many worlds. Interpretation of quantum physics. It was clear to Ingrid that they all had one thing in common. They were unwilling to allow mediocrity in their lives.
The day you decide you are more interested in being spiritually aware of your thoughts than you are in the thoughts themselves, that is the day you will find your way out.
Annelies remarked. Ingrid's eyes wandered around the room. There were 8 participants in the class. Richard, of course, and 3 other men, Niels, Wim and Gerrit. The 3 other women were Liesbeth, Yolanda and Zola. Zola and Wim were a couple in their late 20s.
The purpose of my decoding workshops is to reclaim our power. This means to lift the veil that has kept our real multidimensional potential hidden for so long.
Annelies' whole posture, accentuated by the colourful kaftan, reminded her of gypsies.
Annelies, do you believe physically shifting into a different parallel reality is possible?
Yes, Ingrid, we do it all the time, but are unaware of it. Ingrid, we've all chosen to incarnate at this significant time to wake up fully. Most people will encounter the doubt I hear in your voice because of many challenging, thought-programmed patterns. Every kingdom on planet Earth has a cycle ending in death, but humanity does have a choice about how to pass on. I've chosen to fully wake up during this incarnation before my earthly cycle is completed.
You mean you will not physically die?
Whim, nothing ever dies. However, the imaginary identity is what people are attached to, which must shift while awake. That is my intent. But for now, you will all experience your reality shifts at the first level. When you have awakened to the third level, far more facts that have been concealed will be made known. That supports our theories. He's not taken it all in. He is resisting something.
For a moment, Ingrid's thought was recalling what Power had written in the first excerpt about structured dematerialization and materialization, but at the same time, was she hearing Annelies's mind speak out loud? Wim's expression was indeed sceptical. His eyes were of the usual blue, but remarkably cold. Otherwise there was only an indefinable faint expression on his lips, something forthcoming, but not a smile.
Annelies, will these workshops assist us in that reality shift, as you call it? I mean, overcoming that doubt. By awakening our unimaginable potential, will that enable us to leave this third dimension reality?
Gerrit's eyebrows arched over his glasses. Gerrit must have been remarkably handsome in his youth, and was still a very fine-looking man at 60.
Gerrit, by accelerating our consciousness and spiritual energy, we can break free from the brain's holographic consciousness and awaken this physical dimension through our etheric light body and our higher self-identity to a new perspective.
Nobody said a word. They were all pondering.
Remember, as long as any of you believe it is impossible, you close your mind to understanding it.
Annelies' voice sounded far away. Everyone was silent, taking in what Annelies had just said.
Some call this shift a rebirth or resurrection. Many words are used to express enlightenment. I do not see enlightenment, soul ascension, or awakening as having anything to do with religion. Our genetic decoding techniques, with the help of sound frequencies, will expose the incredible power of your real spiritual selves.
That comment and the symbols on Annelies' wall reminded her of the doodling mind-drawing workshop she had attended last year. The barking of a puppy dog in the hallway temporarily distracted her, but Annelies' further explanation brought her back.
Every frequency resonates to a certain number, color, and sound. The energy that forms patterns, numbers, and geometric symbols is used to uncover the many personality masks we all wear on this level.
Annelies' musical voice was fascinating to listen to. Ingrid's eyes were drawn to the many unusual yet familiar symbols on the walls, and she wondered if this decoding was challenging.
Annelies, if we gather and release all our fragmented parts, will this reconnect us to our oversoul?
She was amazed to hear the term oversoul, which she had looked up on the internet last night.
Liesbeth, I'm glad you asked that. The decoding will activate the memory stored in our DNA/RNA, reconnecting us with the cosmos. It will transform our minds, emotions, and ultimately physical form. As we elevate our energy into higher dimensions, our so-called full awakening increases and sustains ever higher energy frequencies. Our lower personality frequencies have kept us in this physical, lower vibrational entrapment. We are still greatly influenced by the virus called belief.
Ingrid recalled that Power's excerpt had also mentioned Annelies. He called it a soul awakening.
Each individual needs to attach to any belief, dogma, or duality consciousness must be released to shift away from this reality.
Annelies' tone expressed her conviction. Ingrid now wondered about her age. Would this affect their aging process, she wondered.
Oh, yes, it will.
For a moment Ingrid thought it was her mind answering.
Our personality is the entrapment of our mind.
Zola, the youngest woman in the class, gasped. Her long platinum blonde hair fell in loose waves past her shoulders. She wore a black mini dress and combat boots.
Yes, Zola, the masks we wear for different occasions are the personality entities or aspects of the ego. These masks resonate to wavelengths of various frequencies, depending on how we think and feel. This mind virus operates through consciousness and transmits through electromagnetic waves.
If not for the images on the wall, Annelies' replies would have been lost on her. She wondered who had created these graphics. The image was titled The Human Design. Annelies first explained the 5 levels of the decoding program, which reminded her of excerpt 2 from Poa, that Connie, Yolanda's girl, had given her the day before. So it must have come from Annelies.
Sound creates a form, which is vibration energy. You can say that we are born into existence first by thought and then by sound.
Annelies had everyone's attention.
We all emanate a sound. We are energy expressions in a solid form. Decoding the 22 channels shown in the image on the wall and on your energy field sheet will reveal your intentions and aspirations in this lifetime. These are your genetic body codes of light.
You're saying that all life starts first with a thought?
Yes, Ingrid. And thoughts create sounds and color. In our decoding, we use numbers and letters because they are sounds. We experience different vibrations on many frequencies by expressing them through our voices.
Annelies glanced at each of them.
You mean we create our own lives because of the names we are given?
Yolanda, our daily thoughts create our everyday experiences. The sounds we have chosen to experience unconsciously reveal the genetic blueprint of life. Each time your name is called, this sound, now more than ever, will activate the power the name reflects.
This was not a new concept for Ingrid, but she had never given it much thought.
I see. So if we change our names, we use a different sound, which creates a change in our lives?
Yolanda, any change means a shift in vibration. We'll go into each card to understand the dynamics of sound and color. You will all learn to react and respond, to release what has held us back.
Annelies squeezed Yolanda's shoulder. Ingrid intuitively picked up an inner mental communication between them. Yolanda is going through a divorce. How did she know that?
On this first level for the next 5 Friday evenings, we decode the 22 major spacings you all occupy on the board game. By playing this board game with your cards, you will all individually be shifting your perceptions and beliefs that do not serve you anymore.
The idea of making cards and playing a board game became more intriguing.
The Human Design Project and the Rudolf Steiner lectures on the internet also influence my work. With your symbology, my decoding classes will awaken your genetic makeup from the Akashic records, reflecting the real aspects and soul qualities you have chosen to embody during this lifetime.
Annelies pointed at the image on the wall, projected from her laptop. Ingrid could see crisscrossing lines that encased a human figure, with a watermark behind it featuring a 3-dimensional block grid pattern.
We'll make the first 5 awakening cards on the next 5 Friday evenings. These 5 cards round off the first level of the decoding card game. The 2 weeks after that are set aside to integrate your process before we start the second level.
Wow, what a lot of work.
Garrett had the image of some artists, a bit eccentric but still distinguished, one of those people who seem to skip that middle-aged look.
Except for Liesbeth and Wim, all of you have attended Tineka's Language of Light workshops, haven't you?
That was it. The nodding of the others took her back to Tineka's workshop, where she had found peace with Jan's death. Through her mind drawings she released emotional memories to come to terms with all that had happened, but she had never met the others at that time. Annelies added,
We all have to be drastically prepared and bioenergetically rewired to be outfitted with the translation symbologies necessary to communicate and read the spiritual levels of the language of light.
So we commit ourselves for the first 12 weeks only?
Zola's pretty face was flustered as she looked up at Wim, who was staring into space, looking almost bored.
Yes, you can. And Gerrit, the actual work is processed by all of you during the following weeks. The Friday evenings are the fun times, believe me.
Annelies observed Wim with more than just a glance, but then she carried on.
In this first level, you creatively make your 5 present perceptual consciousness cards to reawaken your memories. They also ascertain how awake you are at this moment.
That evoked a reaction from most of them. How awake was she? An immediate bond was established when they shared insights from Tinekke's Language of Light Symbolism courses. She had attended a weekend retreat on the spur of the moment, just after she had settled in Appeldoorn.
Please note, I have a warning for you all. Don't interpret any handouts you receive or download from our internet site literally as an abstract truth, especially if your awareness is expressed linearly.
Someone must have arrived at the house because a young dog went berserk. Yolanda got up to take a look. Then she heard her laughing.
So be gentle on yourselves when you all begin to grasp that truth is often hidden by those whose arguments are false. Oh, Yolanda, is that Toon?
You mean we all perceive truth differently?
Gerrit asked. For a split second Ingrid was sidetracked. Did she hear that mental dialogue coming from Annelies? Did she hear a question?
Yes, Gerrit, you're right. From a personal point of view, we can never agree on any intellectual information. Our external perceptions differ. Toon, can you take Otto's charts with you before you leave?
Ingrid was dumbstruck. Was Annelies talking to someone telepathically? Yolanda came back in again, nodding to Annelies.
Your lives will become an adventure all over again. I hope to see you all tomorrow evening.
Annelies concluded her introductory class by passing around the form.
Annie, I'll see you on Monday. Be good.
Ingrid's mind was racing. That mental voice. Then the front door closed with a thump while a dog was still barking. Annelies smiled and asked if the 3 of them would stay behind.
My guide has told me that the 3 of you will be approached in time to write about your experiences. Ingrid, your journal will become an assignment as part of the reality-shifting process. Have you not been approached to write about the first level?
Annelies' thoughtful glance had an intensity to it, as if she knew what she was thinking. Ingrid was unprepared for this mind-probing. The guide she mentioned must be Poa, but why? Then she heard, or thought she heard, the following sentence.
When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. It is all new to you. I hope to see you all tomorrow evening.
Annelies said, handing her a blue envelope, like the one she had received before. The others were already in their cars driving off when Annelies took Liesbeth, Richard and herself aside.
Ingrid carefully read the first awareness level from Excerpt 2, especially when writing your journal. Express your motivation so your reader can understand the intensity you need to wake up.
But that is so personal. I'm not sure if I can do this.
She almost beamed. Annelies emanated such warmth that she wanted to burst out about her encounters, but Richard interrupted her thoughts.
Annelies, I think I speak for the 3 of us. I'm very excited about your workshops.
As they walked out into the mild spring evening, a young Labrador greeted them excitedly, coming from behind Liesbeth's car. Annelies cuddled the puppy, softly telling him his boss would return soon. Ingrid wondered who his boss was. On the way home, they were all occupied with their reflections. Ingrid picked up thoughts in Liesbeth's mind, but she hated to eavesdrop. Both were impressed that she was asked to take on the first level of her assignment. She was far more shaken by this week's incidents and was still trying to come to terms with her telepathic ability, which seemed to grow stronger by the day.
Something happened to me a week ago that seems to be related. It's too incredible.
Her voice trembled from sheer disbelief. They both wanted to hear her story at the Panneloek the following evening. Liesbeth pointed at the envelope Annelies had given her.
Who's Kitty?
Richard asked.
That's me. Don't ask. Annelies says it's all about the 5-card spaces we are decoding tomorrow evening. From now on, I must keep these excerpts for my journal.
Yolanda told me during our coffee break that some of the esoteric concepts are published on the Reality Shifters website.
Ingrid relaxed in the back seat, but her mental chattering, questioning if she would recognize a reality shift, kept her in turmoil. Liesbeth dropped her off at the parking bay. She waved to both, feeling so jubilant inside that she drove past her house.
Gosh, that made her realize how distracted her mind had been while driving. Had she suddenly experienced a reality shift? When she turned the car around, an intuitive voice stated,
"Kitty, stay in the present. Be more grounded."